And one of the best moments of the show, Bayley's debut. It was obvious that this wasn't really to showcase her, but more in a way of getting the fans to want to see more of her. This was mainly about Sasha being able to get the odds even between her and Dana Brooke and Charlotte. So the fact that Bayley came in was just like that extra ingredient that made a regular match so much better, because the match itself was alright. It wasn't a classic, but the first time watching it, you know you're only paying attention to one major fact, and you're just marking out the whole time. It helped. It was a big surprise over just being a draft pick. It got a loud pop from an audience, and I just kept watching just for that. I keep rewatching the entrance a lot of times. And we got Sasha and Bayley to hug at the end, and we all know how fans react the last time we saw that. So the Wyatts versus the New Day wasn't going to have any sort of payoff title match, so I didn't see any real reason to invest when first watching. Same reason with their feud with the ECW, and even with Lesnar. They just didn't have the best of luck capitalizing on feuds lately. Good thing they're breaking up, I guess. New Day was still entertaining. Wish they had won, so they didn't look like that team that can't beat the other group of guys when it counts. I mean, they lost to the League of Nations at Mania. They're losing to the Wyatts now. It really just soured the whole feel of the match. Plus, you have Xavier finally overcoming his fears, only to then be re-feared and lose. Like, I get you want Bray to look strong because he's going to singles competition on Smackdown main event, but you also want the three-man group that's going to stay together look like they can stay strong as a unit and overcome and help each other out. It was mainly just Big E and Kofi Kingston being that really strong tag team that would always be there for each other, and Xavier being afraid, and then finally Xavier overcoming, and Big E and Kofi Kingston being nowhere to help. Next, the US title match. Rusev has become one of my favorite storytellers of WWE. This guy just understands the importance of when to look strong and when to look weakened. He's a great seller. He's great at showing emotional expressions. I seriously wouldn't mind him someday being the top champion. He's got the look and the ability to be at top. Ryder was decent, not a standout as Rusev, but showed he shouldn't be a jobber anymore. And Mojo showed up, so yeah. And we got Zayn vs. Owens match of the night and possibly a match of the year candidate. Let's talk about the beginning and how much it already shows how far we've come. Throwback to Extreme Rules with Zayn starting off with a haluva kick. Throwback to NXT Rival with Owens rolling out the ring and beginning the match. Evolution of the feud with Zayn rolling out and already starting a brawl. Then as the match continues, we get intensity, and we've just been begging to see between these two. This isn't just a match for the two, this is a fight. These guys are so blinded with hate that they're only going to want to reach to the top of the shelf with each other. And they did. Owens would do anything just to hurt Zayn. His head, his shoulders, aiming at anything possibly injured. Zayn just kept attempting and hitting all of his specials and finishers constantly during the match. Zayn, I think, counting the two haluva kicks at the end, went for the haluva kick about, I think, 6 or over that many times. And Owens super kicked Zayn at least 3 or more. And that ending, oh my god, Owens slapping Zayn and Zayn doing constant suplexes until he finally got that chance to hit the haluva kick. And then you get Zayn holding a deadweight Owens in this superhero-esque fashion, only then to push Owens back and hit a second haluva kick. Fantastic match to a fantastic feud. Whether this is the end for now or not, it solidified this bitter battle as feud of the year. So I'll be honest, I forgot about Becky vs. Natalya. I just don't care about Natalya programs, aside from her feuds with Charlotte, because they got good chemistry together. But Natalya's character is just boring for me. To me, she's proof that a character doesn't get more interesting when they turn heel, and just poor Becky with this awful booking. She got like 2 moves in this match. Whose feud is this supposed to be helping? Anyway, I hope she feuds with someone different. The IC title match took me a second watch. Didn't really pay attention the first time. I just wasn't interested in the build-up of the match or the matchup itself. Most of the match felt slow or sloppy, which was disappointing because Miz has been on a roll lately with good matches. And when it started actually getting good, it got weird, like really awkward and weird. And the finish was still awkward. And it was like they missed a few cues and timings and everything. Darren Young at least sold the ending, though, the idea of growth and what it means to be stronger. So we got the 6-man tag match, aka Cena vs. AJ Part 2, the smart version. Just glad WWE learned how to give Cena his first win back in a smarter fashion other than last year's with Owens. It is entirely just Cena getting his win back. It's one team going over another while being a part of a bigger feud and continuing a better story. It just gives us a better feel about the finish and possibly that the rivalry is going to continue to SummerSlam. So for the rest of the cast of the match, Enzo and Big Cass were on fire this match. Enzo just took the spotlight before the match even started and never let it go. And Big Cass shows promise in what will eventually be a singles run. The club haven't really gotten that match to show themselves off, but this was as good as it gets so far. Anderson really was the standout with the spine busters and that high knee. Anyway, it was a really fun six-man match. Even the beatdown on Enzo was fun. And then when things picked up, it was really just spot after spot. And not just feeling like they're just doing it so it just feels bigger and better. It felt like these guys were trying to one-up each other. Like they were trying to raise the stakes on each other, saying, holy shit, they just did this to us, we have to get higher. Like the evolution of warfare. It just felt really organic in the rise of this match. And the finish just felt appropriate and fitting for Cena needing to do the AA not on the ring, but from the middle ropes for the win. Jericho still talks and has a segment special. I'd rather he just stick to podcasting and less on stage. It's not just because he's supposed to be a heel. He was annoying when he was a face too. He has his moments, but I really just don't enjoy him anymore. It's like The Rock for me. I just don't care about you on my screen. Orton is Orton. You can tell when he's reading lines and when he actually feels like what he's saying. He's got that jerkish sense of humor, but when you use it on him like you do Sheamus or even Roman Reigns promos, it feels stupid and boring. And for the main event, we got the Shield, the triple threat for the WWE Championship, featuring Raw and SmackDown. So I get it. I get the draft happened, and they wanted to add that question, which brand will get the WWE title. But honestly, this is a match that's been over 2 years in the making since the breakup of the Shield. People thought it would happen at SummerSlam. People thought it would happen at WrestleMania. This has been a constant carousel feud with each member facing against one another, mainly Rollins feuding with either Ambrose or Reigns, then finally Ambrose and Reigns feuding with each other. Whether it was because of blood or the WWE title, it's been a sellout main event since the day of the breakup. So why the fuck would you add the tease of run-ins and the idea of representation of a brand to this match? This match is more important than brand pride. This would be the battle where even though the world is at war, these three titans are in their own little corner fighting it out because they can't avoid the question any longer of who's the best. Brands did not matter. General managers did not matter. Locker room pride did not matter. This match would be the representation of three men throwing away just about everything for one night, for one match, to finally beat his brothers and prove who's the best. So when I saw Stephanie and Foley and Brian and Shane decide to sit in chairs in the front row announce table and hear Cole talk about brands and see locker rooms, I was just mad. It took me out of the match and how much it pissed me off. And everything I just said thrown aside, it was a really good match. It already had a climactic ending of a feud, given the extra gimmick that wasn't needed. Aside from that, it was very enjoyable. The fact that there wasn't any run-ins or attacks or shenanigans made me happy, but then made me even more mad for seeing four unwanted faces on my screen during this match. Why tease so blatantly? Why can't you just let something that's already gold stay gold? Why add another coat of paint to it? This is why I don't name it Match of the Night, because of how pissed off I got for them trying to shove the brand split in my face and the new authority figures in my face during a match I've wanted to see since Rollins hit Reigns with a steel chair. And by the way, all the callbacks to this match was brilliant. The Shield-esque beatdown, the powerbomb through the table, the steel chair to the back, just showing how far these three have come and evolved against each other, for each other, because of each other. In that ending, which each of them all just hitting their finishers until Ambrose was the only one left standing, that comic book anime-esque final battle finish. And then I get to watch Shane and Brian running around in circles like idiots reminded me that this isn't about the Shield finalizing their chapter with each other. And I got angry again. Because of as awesome as the match this was, as awesome as these three competitors did everything to show how much hatred and disrespect they've had for each other, and even though that they've always felt like they were brothers still, it added a sour taste to me and aggravated me about what they wanted to remind me this match wasn't about. It might as well just been Ambrose vs. Braun Strowman if you wanted it to be about brand pride for all I care. Anyway, I'm not gonna try to fully discredit, even though it basically did, the Shield, what the Shield did to remind me the true story of the match, and I'm not even gonna bother talking about that after-match celebration. So, final thoughts on the pay-per-view. Enough high moments to say you would want to watch it if you haven't already, and say that there are a few matches worth rewatching, mainly the Owens versus Zayn, the triple threat, and the women's tag, just for the sake of Bayley. Definitely felt like the ending of a chapter of a pay-per-view, season finale type feel, which is what I always want out of my pay-per-views. I don't think this is the best they could have done with the booking of the card and execution, but it was a pretty well job. Though this was a smart way of introducing Bayley to the main roster scene, just to tease with the promise of more to come in the near future. And for the falling action of this ending, you got the Raw and SmackDown highs and lows. Oh my fucking god, Balor was amazing, and he beat 4 guys, including Roman Reigns, clean on his first night. I did not expect that. I expected maybe just like a Neville-esque opening for him. I'm glad I'm wrong. Sasha Banks is the WWE Women's Champion after a good match, and I'm glad it didn't happen at SummerSlam because that would have felt too predictable now. Even though her title defense might be predictable, they can still change their minds, and it just helps us not feel as if they always just want it to be at a pay-per-view. They wanted to sell that Raw is different, so they gave a good surprise, even though I don't expect us to get these kind of surprises every night. But then there's SmackDown, and SmackDown really had like 1 or 2 matches. The rest was just previews. Shelton Benjamin coming soon. American Alpha coming soon. Aside from the WWE Championship we just finally made, we promise other feuds coming soon. The women's division starts soon. It just felt like a bad Marvel origin movie where there's promise of a future but no acting on it, which is what Raw did. At least there's less of an authority feel to the shows, so that's to like about it.